Welcome, everybody. All right, the chords from the key of death, the key of E, sorry. All right, these chords, well, there's only two open chords in the key of E. And that used to just, well, it scared me away. And as a result, I missed out on learning, in the first year of playing guitar, some great songs that I wanted to learn that were in the key of E, because at the end of the day, there's only two open chords. That's why I refer to it as the key of death, right? So unless you're playing E and A, which, don't laugh, but there's a song that I always thought that the songwriter started writing in the key of E and then realized there's only two open chords, and he didn't know any bar chords, so he just kept it as a two-chord song. And that song is da 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 ba 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 da 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 da, right? It was a huge hit, and again, only two chords. But no, that's probably not the case. But for a lot of people, that's the extent of your ability to play in the key of E, because there's only two open chords. The other four are bar chords. Well, five really, but even though we don't use the diminished chords, so the other four are bar chords. Now, there's a reason that when you start guitar that you're kind of shepherded over to the key of G, and you learn G, C, and D, and then you might learn D, G, and A. So now with four chords, you can play the three major chords in two really, really popular keys, right? And that's more than enough to get you going and to last you for years, right? So there's a reason. And on the other end of the coin, there's a reason why beginners aren't shown the key of E. And it's not just beginners. I mean, I did not play anything in the key of E as is for years, all right? Until I learned a few walkarounds, and until I built my guitar foundation, and then was able to revisit my bar chords and play them a lot more effectively and smoothly. But in the first, for me, 3-4 years, I didn't go near the key of E. So let's try today. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to sort of get around it, okay? And I'll let you decide if it works for you. So let's take a look at the chords in the key of E, and then I'll show you some workarounds, okay, that we can play alternate chords. And then I'll show you a second way, all right, that makes it even easier. And if you have been following me, you probably know what that second way is, right? So here we go. Let's look at the chords in the key of E. Now, the one chord is obviously E major, so that's easy. That's an open chord. A lot of us learn that as our first chords, okay? I know I did. So we have E. And then from there, we go to F sharp minor. Now, there's our bar chord, right? That a lot of us aren't familiar with in our first year of playing. Then from there, we go to G sharp minor, another bar chord. Then we go to A, which is a bar chord, but we can luckily play the A here. So there's our second open chord. For the B, we can continue on up here with the E-shaped bar chord, or we can play our B here using the A shape. That's up to you. And then we have a C sharp minor, okay? Now, there's a D sharp diminished is the seventh chord, but we generally ignore diminished chords in all keys because they're generally best suited for classical music, some jazz music, and it's so very rare. And in fact, and they're always weird chords. Like this is like the B diminished right here, right? And I think you can play it here somewhere. And it's just a bad chord to have to fret and to move around with. So just ignore it. And if you have to play a D sharp at the end of that run, then just play D sharp or play a D minor or play a D major. Not the end of the world. All right, so now we're going to take a look at how we can replace each and every one of those bar chords to make things a little easier to play. Now again, if you've been subscribing or following me for any length of time, then just a couple of weeks ago, you know that I put out a video called One Finger Chords. Now I called it that so that it didn't overwhelm people with what it really is. Okay? And they are triads. But if I'd have said, hey, we're going to learn triads, a lot of people would, I don't want any part of that. It's above my pay grade, and they just skip it out altogether. So I called it one-finger chords to give it some traction. All right? So, because people then think, oh, there's a special cheat out there that I can learn. And, well, in a way it is to be looked at that, right? All right, so let's take a look at those one-finger chords. Now, if we take one finger and we fret the first 3 strings on the guitar, and we play only those 3 strings, okay, that's so important, in the first fret, well, that's an F minor. If we were to move that same thing up 1 fret and play only those 3 strings, well, lo and behold, there's our F sharp minor. So now we have an E, and we have our F sharp minor. E, F sharp minor. Now, there is a little difference in the two, right? Because in the traditional bar chord, we're playing all 6 strings, okay? And we're playing these lower strings here. Where in this triad version, we're just playing the 3 highest strings. That's it. 3 strings, 3 notes. Now, all chords, again, if you've been subscribing and following, you know that I've explained and shown you that all chords are only 3 notes. The first, the third, and the fifth. Everything else is a repetition. So when we play a 6-string G chord like this, we're only playing 3 notes. We're just playing them multiple times. Okay? So that's going to make the chord seem thicker and lusher and all that kind of stuff. When we play the G here as a triad, you hear the difference? It's thin, it's high, it's only 3 notes. So remember that, okay? It might change the overall pitch or voicing of the song you're trying to play. So keep that in mind. Now, F sharp minor. The next chord we want to replace is the G sharp minor, okay? Which is the F sharp minor up 2 frets. So we do the same thing here. We got our F sharp minor. We move it up 2 frets. We got a G sharp minor. Now the next chord is our A. Well, we know we can play that here. So there's our A played this way. So now we have E, right? F sharp minor, G sharp minor, and back here for the A. So far, it's pretty easy, right? Okay. Now the B, remember, I showed you way back a B major triad, which is played right here. Now, all it is an A chord moved up 2, but we have to be careful with all of these triads. Now, it looks like an A, but when we play an A, we actually play the open A string and then those 3 strings that are fretted. Once we leave home base, we can only play the exact notes that we're fretting. No open strings. If we play any open strings, we are not playing a B major triad. Okay? So there's our replacement for the B chord. Now, for C sharp minor, we got a couple of things we can do, but I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to continue on this trend of one-finger chords. So there's my F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A minor, B minor, C minor, and at the 9th fret, C sharp minor. Now we could also do this. Play the C sharp minor bar chord, but take the bar away. Maybe you want to finger it like this, which is an A minor. So it's really an A minor shape, right? Just moved up. Okay, so there's our B minor, C minor, C sharp minor. If we just play our A minor with our finger on the 5th fret like that, and only those 3 strings, we have a C sharp minor. But the easiest one is to just go right here and play that, right? And then, of course, we're not going to touch our diminished chord. So there's the replacement for every single bar chord in the key of E. Now we can move around a little more freely. Now, the reality is, for most of us, we're really only going to play, a lot of times we just play that 1-4-5, the E, the A, and the B. So now we can play 12-bar blues and songs that are written in, you know, with the 1-4-5 chords, as there are thousands in every key, right? So if we do that, then instead of this, to the B, instead of this, which is the 1-4-5, we can now go to the B, to the A. A lot easier that way, and it sounds just the same, right? Okay, now before I show you this next thing, which we've covered before, right, for different reasons, before I show it to you, I just want to show you a sweet little chord progression that allows us another way to play our F sharp minor and our G sharp minor, okay? All right, so check this out. Oh, beautiful. Now that is a very popular chord progression in a number of songs, but for me, it's the intro and the inside of a song called Melissa by the Allman Brothers that is just beautiful. So I don't know if you noticed this, but what we did was we played our E major. Now we slid the E minor part of the chord, the two fingers, we slid them up 2 frets, right? E to F sharp is 2 frets. But the first finger that we used to fret our E string, right here on that G, okay, the first fret, we only move that up 1 fret. So we create like a split. Now, in order to do that, I had to switch my E to the back 2 fingers. So I don't know if anybody noticed that. You can't really do it. You can't do it that way, all right? You have to play with the back fingers. But once again, check it out. E, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, F sharp minor, E. I just wanted to show you that because it's just beautiful. And all you have to do is just rejig the way you play your E chord. That allows you to make that separation as you move up the fret, up the board, right? Okay. Now let's get on to the other way to replace your bar chords in the key of E. And that is good old-fashioned capo. All right? Hey, like it or not, this thing works wonders, right? And remember, I can't say this enough. 2 things. One, I'm not picking on beginner guitar players. Not at all. I didn't play songs in the key of E for years because I didn't know about this, right? And my bar chords never materialized the way what I thought they would, and I kind of quit a couple of times, and I never end up playing these 2 classic songs in the key of E that I really wanted to play. Anyways, that's another story. So capo on 4. Now when we do this, we put a capo on 4. We can now play the chords from the key of C, right? So if we play a C with a capo on 4, the actual chord we're playing is D, E, right? Because a C with a capo on 4 is a C sharp, D sharp, E. Now, just to show you how it works, if I was to play a G with a capo on 4, I'm actually playing a G sharp, an A sharp, I'm playing a B. So if I play C and G, I'm really playing E and B, right? And every chord in the key of C has a corresponding partner in the key of E. So A minor, which we all know how to play, right, is your C sharp minor chord. Sorry, there's your C sharp minor. And your F, played with a capo on 4, is your A chord. So you can see that there's a replacement in the open position for every bar chord as long as you use a capo on 4. So now that we know that, hey, let's play that iconic riff from one of the songs that I wanted to learn way back but was afraid to, or, well, I couldn't, put it that way. And that's this one here by a band called America. Okay, we all know that riff. And the other song that I wanted to learn was by a band called Journey, and it's just a small town girl living in a na-na-na. She took the midnight train going anywhere. You see how it works? Like, it is so easy. You're obviously opening yourself up to a little bit of criticism by all these guitar snobs that are going to yell at you and say you're being lazy, you're not realizing your potential, you're cheating, you're taking the easy way out, all of that stuff. Well, you know what? I started at 50. I don't have time to master all my techniques and different ways to play chords. And not only that, I tried it, didn't like it. It hurts. I can't play bar chords for a prolonged period of time. So anybody that criticizes me, you know what I tell them? I just go to you, and that's it. It's my guitar, and I will play it the way I want. And for those of you lucky enough, because most of us will only be hobby, homebound guitar players, okay? And some of us might be able to one day get a gig in a little coffee shop or a pub, and we'll play songs. And at that point, it does not matter how you achieve the goal of sounding good. It really doesn't. Nobody watching you is going to say, oh, excuse me, very good job. I love the way you play the song. However, you're not playing it right. You should be using bar chords. Nobody's ever going to say that. So let's not worry about it, right? All right, so I think we've covered everything here today, and you've got now 2 workarounds to be able to navigate through a very difficult key, the one that I call the key of death or the key of E, right? You pick out, or bits of both, how you want to proceed. Maybe some songs you'll use the triads or the one-finger chords, and then other songs you'll use the capo method. It's completely up to you, all right? So once again, thank you for all your support, and please always remember this. There is only one way to get better, and one way only. And that's just play your guitar. All right, see you, folks.